Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon, and today we're going to be talking about how we got Sovereign on mid lane. In 233 games, you can see with a 66% win rate, you can see the stats here, nearly 1,000 gold per minute. And we'll go and show you the champions. We played largely Syndra, as you can see here, with a 70% win rate on Syndra. Very, very high gold per minute on her as well. So we're basically going to be going over a Syndra game, talking through what it was that allowed me to climb so well and so quickly. So let's get right into it. Okay, so getting into it. So again, we're going to be talking more about how I climbed rather than focusing super specifically on this game, though we will mention some things from this game as we go along. I've kind of mentioned these things in a lot of my videos already about mages, and this will be, probably my last video on mages for a little bit, as we'll then, be going into probably support next. We currently have 3 Sovereign accounts, but we are obviously looking to get at least 4 or 5 is the goal. We'll see how much time we have left in the season, probably about 2 weeks, but that aside, getting right into it. So the first thing you're doing in lane phase every time is just simply looking for poke on Syndra. Every time the enemy walk up for last hits or trade with you, you just simply first ability them whenever they look susceptible. This simple concept of waiting for the enemy to go for a last hit, or obviously if they're just in range, but typically when they go for a last hit, waiting to poke them until they go for a last hit, that is essentially the key concept of Syndra and of mages in general, and that is really what allowed me to win a lot of lane phases. So here he's walking up to pressure me, not necessarily for a last hit in that situation, but we do the same concept where we poke him. Then here, once again, he has to walk up for the last hit, so we punish him by getting that poke onto him. Here we missed the CS, very unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're still in a fine spot gold wise. First strike plus Sweet Tooth and Sea Jar runes always allow you to have a lot of gold. And again, I know this minion's low, so what do? We just poke him out. We get 3 free stacks, and we're just constantly stacking. This is the entire early game. Let the enemy push into you as much as they want. Every time your spells are on cooldown and the enemy walk up, use the fact that they've walked up to easily target lock them. You see I use Portrait Lock to target lock, and then I auto aim my spells onto them, and my spells hit them every time because they have to stand still. I'm not worried about that random fight topside that my Jarvan's doing for no reason. I'm not worried about anything like that because that's not what Syndra can do. And so you'll have plenty of these games where your teammates ping you. I mean, I had a different game where my Varus jungle, because he got mad that I didn't want to remake, decided to run it down my lane. He went 0-10 in the game and literally took half the gold from me for the entire game, and we still managed to carry and win because all that you're concerned with as Syndra is farm, get stacks in lane, and then you carry on 3 items. And you're going to see the same concept here. Twisted Fate, there's no way I'm going to outroam a Twisted Fate. He's going to ult at some point. I can't stop him from ulting. What I can do is punish him when he does roam. So Twisted Fate here, he stays on his roam. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to push the wave and I'm going to play for turret plates. This is what you do. The enemy roam, you push the wave, you play for turret plates. It's that simple. You punish their last hits, and then if they roam, you push the wave, you play for turret plates. Every once in a while, you'll find a roam angle. Like sometimes you're just going to be like, oh, that actually just looks like a really good roam angle. I know I can get a lot out of it, and I'm not going to be losing much. In that case, you can do it. But generally speaking, you only want to roam if your wave is pushed. So the gist of it is, again, you play this lane early, you're not concerned, you're just concerned with getting stacks, poking, and finding a recall on your mana boots. And then from there, if the enemy roam, you push your wave and you do whatever looks best once you've pushed your wave. So if you have the wave pushing, the enemy roam, and you think you can get some plates, you get the plates. If you think you can't get plates, or you think there's something more valuable, you can go do that. You can roam, you can recall, you can ward, you can do whatever. It's just make sure the wave is pushed first. That's the key concept of mid lane. Just push the wave, then you can do whatever the heck you want to do. I don't know why I said heck like that. I was going to say the F word, but then I thought, like, I shouldn't swear, which I don't know why I thought that. I swear all the time, but that doesn't matter. That's not at all related to getting Sovereign on mid lane, so it's not really important for you guys, but, I'm just rambling at this point. Again, though, you see here, Twisted Fate, he pushes. What he should have done right after pushing is just tried to roam. Instead, he gave me 4 free stacks. Like, what better Twisted Fate? That's when he's going to roam, is because he's pushed the wave. He has quite a while until the next wave comes, and that's why you see me actually going into the lane, or into the river here, seeing if I can maybe hover or at least get fruit. That's just because, again, I have a brief window where there's no wave in mid lane. Now that the wave's there, again, I go back. So you saw just that little 90 gold that I got from the fruit. That's just a more effective use of my time. And then here at this point, we have the cleanse for the Vi. We already got the Twisted Fate 1 HP, so we're able to flash plus W auto him. kill him, then we get the stun onto the Poppy, and we're able to get a lot done. So again, when the game revolves around the lane as the mage, you are happy. Like, if it revolves around your lane, if you're getting ganked, if you're getting, you know, stuff happening to you, you're fine with that because you're a champion who's safe. You should have cleanse or exhaust or whatever works best on the enemy. You should have your flash. You should be playing pretty safe with that. And you should be able to realistically not die even if the enemy do gank you. Like, you should be that type of person where the enemy never want to gank you because you're always in a position where you can't be ganked. And then when they do gank you and overforce like that, you're just able to easily get kills. We got the Twisted Fate 1 HP initially from that poke, and then obviously we get the outplay from there. But just, again, the game revolving around your lane, that's really what matters. Here, once again, the enemy is walking up for a last hit, so I get 4 stacks from him once again. Q, E, W, Q. That simple, nothing too complicated there with the combo. You can watch my rank 1 Syndra guide if you want to know all the combos. And then again, wave is coming in mid, push the wave, and then do whatever looks best from there. If Twisted Fate's not here, for example, like he roams topside, or I just have my Jarvan here in this case, we can just simply continue to push the turret. If Twisted Fate's there and my Jarvan's not there, then I could look for a roam after pushing that. But you see, good play by Twisted Fate to punish the no flash Twisted Fate. Good play by Jarvan to punish the no flash Twisted Fate. I said Twisted Fate twice. If you can't tell, it's kind of early in the morning and my brain doesn't work that well yet. But either way, again, it's pretty much that simple. The early macro that I use to climb is, once again, you're punishing the last hits, and here I get pretty greedy, you're going to see. But I think it's, you know, not the end of the world, but it's definitely not the best. Because the Vi's here, I definitely should have kind of backed off earlier. A little greedy, but, you know, it doesn't end up too bad regardless. But again, the early macro, you push the wave, or you punish the last hits. When the enemy roam, you push the wave, and you do whatever looks best with the wave being pushed. Make sure the game revolves around your lane, and you're probably happy. Here we go anti-shield second, because they have a bunch of shielding. I think they have a Seraphine, they have Poppy, they have Vi. Or they have a Sona, not a Seraphine, but, you know, same thing. And then here again, we're just looking for a simple pick. When it comes to team fighting, using the semi-lock camera setting, and luckily we get a double kill here, even though we do die. Using the semi-lock camera setting allows you to get a lot larger range. So when it comes then to the team fighting, you know, playing the fights out, making sure you're using the semi-lock camera to get vision farther, you know, just get further vision, because you can, basically how it works is it puts a little eye in the top right of your screen. If you move the eye, then it moves your screen permanently. So you don't have to keep dragging your screen. It moves it permanently that way. So your character might, for example, be on the bottom of your screen instead of the middle of your screen when you use it. And you can tap it to go back to the normal camera view. So this just allows for better camera panning. It just allows you to kind of carry fights harder because you have additional vision. And then here, all we're doing, we're pretty much just playing this fight to get a bunch of stacks. You can see I'm already 98 stacks, which is extremely fast. If we can get a kill on Poppy, we try, but we're not quite able to get that. And once again, like, my team, you can see here, is doing quite poorly. I'm just looking for pokes, seeing if I can find any picks on anyone, and that's really all there is to it. Again, you use the camera panning, you make sure you keep track of the key spells of the enemy so you don't get caught out by them. And then you just look for the one-shot angles when you can find them. And that's pretty much how the team fighting of Syndra and of mages in general is going to go. And then as it relates to the macro in the mid game, your goal from 6 minutes to 11 minutes is largely just to push a wave and then find gold elsewhere. Push a wave, find gold elsewhere. You're going to use this quick wave clear combo on Syndra. I guess I didn't actually use it here because I'm looking for the Twisted Fate, but it's basically what I just did there. You're going to E, Q, W. I did W first there, but typically you're going to E, Q, W, which is third, first, second, for those that don't understand the PC terms. And then, yeah, again, you just, a wave is there, boom, push that wave. I guess I'll show you guys so you can see the wave clear combo. Push that wave and then go somewhere else. And so once again, we look for the top lane roam. Some situations it's going to be go somewhere else, and that's how we get 500 gold. Then I find gold on top side because that's where the next wave is. Okay, do my wave clear combo. Here I don't have third ability, so I just do the other stuff to wave clear. Then I know that there's going to be another wave here because this wave got stuck on my side for a while, and if the wave gets stuck on your side for a while like this, it means the next wave is going to come soon after. So I walk up, look for that wave, then okay, wave's gone, I'm going to recall, I'm going to go find a wave somewhere else. In this case, my teammate already got mid, so I didn't really have anywhere to go. So instead I decide, oh, there's a bot lane turret, let me look to try to take that bottom lane turret. So you look for the waves, you look for the turrets, you look to play for these types of things, and that's how you're going to find a lot of value. I think get a little greedy here though, because Twisted Fate does show up. So I do have to flash, or I think I flash even late. If I just flash right away, I got greedy with my flash because I was trying to hold my flash for his gold card, but then he red carded me, which was strange. But regardless, I should have just flashed earlier. It would have been better. Definitely a little over greedy of me, but you can see once again, or as it relates to the macro, we're just looking for wherever we can get gold. So we push a wave, we either push another wave if the wave's free there, otherwise we go somewhere else, find gold, whether that's if we see an easy kill angle, if we see a turret, if we see a different wave in another part of the map. But that's the gist of the mid game. And then as it relates to the late game, as you can see, we're shifting into the 11-minute mark, and 11 minutes onwards is kind of what I consider late game, because that's when Baron spawns. And then once Baron spawns, your goal is, well, to just get the Baron. So you can see I'm already on my death cap. The most common thing that's going to happen if you're playing Syndra with the gold per minute that I have is that I'm usually about 200 gold away from death cap by the time that Baron's about to spawn. Here, since we have 6 kills, we're a little accelerated. And then your goal is pretty much just hover the Baron, get the waves that come in mid, control the mid wave, and then use your control of the mid wave to go into team fights. So Baron's the team fight you really care about, but sometimes Dragon is going to be something you value as well, especially if you can find a pick around the mid like this onto the Twisted Fate. And again, you get mid control, make sure you have vision, make sure you're set up properly for the objective, and then you go into the fight. Notice how I'm not that concerned about the fight right away. I'm more concerned initially with getting the wave pushed, and then after that we can go into the fight, play it slow, and just play for some poke on the enemy. Unfortunately, Poppy does kind of snipe me there. It was a nice snipe by Poppy, but again, once again, we get mid control, we use the mid control to go into an objective fight. And that's again the gist of the late game and the gist of setting up for the team fights. And by doing that, we're able to play the fight pretty well, get decent amount of, value from it, but it is a relatively hard fight to play. I use the repositioning from the what-you-call-it thing. I don't know what that's called, but Vi makes it out on 1 HP. It's called a blast cone. That's what it's called. Yeah, Vi makes it out on 1 HP, and at this point, I know a lot of them are low, so I'm kind of trying to see if I can stick around to find a pick or something, but this is like slightly greedy because I could get caught here. So definitely probably just shouldn't even be here, though I am here, and then at this point, I'm just looking for a pick. Once again, just control the mid wave, make sure I get it pushed. Because if I have the mid wave pushed as a Syndra, it means I get to go into the objective first. I get to go ward. Notice how I'm valuing the ward on the Baron, because that's the objective I really care about. My team, since they contested Dragon, I contested it, especially since I found that pick on the Twisted Fate, but I never really cared about that Dragon. I wasn't going to die for it for the most part, unless, I thought I can kill a million people. We take the recall because we have a lot of gold. It's also important, when you're sitting on 1,000, 2,000 gold, that you find a recall at a reasonable time, especially if you have your full item. But even if you have half of it, again, 1,000, 2,000 gold, you would ideally want to try to do that. And then here, we make sure we have control of the mid, and then we go into the objective fight. Now, my team plays this very, very poorly, if I remember correctly, and has 0 peel for me, not allowing me to get into, anything, and so it ends up being pretty bad. The reason I say that my team played this poorly, if you guys are wondering, is because they decide to go straight in through the their own jungle into the enemy, rather than going in through the mid and then pushing mid and using the mid push to go into the objective. Because if you go from mid into the objective, then the enemy will lose gold in mid, and you get access to a good flank angle. Whereas when you walk through the choke point my teammates walk through, they end up getting caught really easily. It's really easy for them to get zoned, get Poppy dashed against a wall, stuff like that. And then obviously the enemy can use the mid bushes also to find flank angles on you or find different angles to go on you, which is why that fight ends up turning out very poorly, because we don't really have peel because of the way that the fight is set up. And so you can see, obviously you're not always going to be able to control exactly how your teammates approach fights or anything like that. But this is a very common thing, or a very common situation that I will find myself on as Syndra, as Orianna, these types of scaling mages, and that's, you're super fed, you farm super well, probably got some kills, whatever, but then your teammates are not playing very well, the enemy are ahead, but you're going to see, again, very, very frequently, the enemy just can make one mistake, you can one-shot them as an Orianna, as a Syndra, as whatever, and then from there, you can definitely snowball and win a game, just because, again, I have almost 14,000 gold at 14 minutes. It doesn't matter that my team is down however much they're down, I don't remember exactly how much, but it's kind of a lot. I think I checked the scoreboard here, so I'm curious. Yeah, we're down 7,000 gold. So we're down 7,000 gold. We're down 2 dragons. The enemy have Baron. It's about to expire, but they had Baron. And yet this game is entirely winnable, just because of the fact that I can one-shot someone at any point. It's just that simple. No matter how fed anyone on the enemy team is, they can always be one-shot by me. Here, Twisted Fate flashes to stun my crown, I guess. And then Poppy decides to try to kill me as well. Luckily, a good Nami Veil there. And then all we're doing is just sitting here trying to poke the enemy. Again, you can see, ultimately mages can only do so much. They're not champions that can, you know, go super aggressive or anything in fights. Staying alive, getting your spells off, and then backing off until your spells come back up is pretty much all you can do. And so that's all I'm really looking to do here. I'm trying to make sure the enemy can't get the end, of course, since multiple of my teammates are dead. But largely when it comes to this type of game, you're pretty much just looking for a pick on someone. So like I almost find the Sona there, for example, and that's what I'm looking for. Is like, can I one-shot someone like Sona? Unfortunately, Sona, you know, she lives on 1 HP. Which the enemy definitely lived on 1 HP quite frequently here, but that's really what we're looking for. Is like, ideally get a mid lane pushed, but at this point we're kind of getting pushed under our turret. Find a one-shot on someone and then use that one shot to eventually get an objective and kind of snowball the game from there. Here, I'm trying to abuse the fact that the enemy are have not recalled, so they haven't spent their gold and they're a bit low health. So I'm trying to back them off. This is kind of what we refer to as tempo, where it's now our turn to make a play because the enemy overstayed. They stayed up too long, and because they stayed up too long, and you can see Vi gets even more greedy here for vision, I'm able to punish their overstay. So if you've gotten a good recall off already, you've got your gold spent, you're strong, you're full health, you're full mana, and the enemy decide to overstay, this is the type of situation that you're going to be able to abuse and then end up getting a pick on someone and often, you know, getting good value from and whatnot. And so here then Poppy decides to flash onto me. Twisted Fate decides to ult onto me. Luckily we bought QSS and Cleanse because they have a lot of CC, and we're able to outplay them pretty hard there. So we're able to get a kill on Twisted Fate and the Vi, and this is again how you kind of start these comebacks. It's just smart use of, you know, abusing the enemy tempo, for example, finding picks on the enemy when they overextend, and then using that to ideally snowball from there. Poppy has done a really good job all game of zoning me, so it's like really hard for me to play. Yone gets that steal, which is pretty clutch, and then we're able to find Sona with my ultimate, and then we're eventually able to kill the Misfortune as well. So then you can see it kind of snowballs. That pick, that abuse of their tempo, or their poor usage of tempo, led to then the enemy overforcing without their jungler or their Twisted Fate being alive, which is what led to us getting those kills there. Because again, the enemy, they'll often panic. They'll be like, oh, we're already ahead. We can just keep fighting even when our teammate gets picked off. That one pick leads to 2 more picks. Now it gives us control over the Baron. So then we have a chance of finding a pick around Baron because the enemy might be worried about Baron. And from there, again, the game can kind of snowball. Here, the Jarvan goes on Poppy. I think Poppy ends up ulting us both out. And the Twisted Fate ultimate stopped my crown, so then I died, or so then I got hit by the Poppy ult, because the Poppy ult was going to hit my crown. So that was kind of unfortunate. Twisted Fate at this point ults, and again, all we can really do here is try to zone them off the Baron. The good thing is Syndra is really good around these types of situations. So when you're this fed as a Syndra, if the enemy do try to force a Baron, it's not unlikely that you can find some type of pick. Ezreal gets a nice little ult there. Yone finds the ult onto both of them, and then we're able to ult the Vi and then get the Baron steal. So this is, again, a very common thing. Like, you guys have probably seen other videos where I do the same type of thing as Syndra. Like, you're farming really well, doing well in the game, team is doing pretty bad. The enemy eventually throw once, which leads to another throw, which leads to a throw at Baron, and then you win the game. Like, this is a sequence that happens way more than you would think. Here we kind of notice that we have a top wave pushing, so we can end up pushing that to try to get the end. But I go to try to zone the Sona because I know Sona's going to obviously come to protect this. And so I realize, like, what is Sona going to do? She's obviously going to go to protect it. So we find the one shot on her with the ward over the wall. Just putting myself in the enemy's shoes, thinking, what are they going to think? Where are they going to be? And then using that to find a pick on them. And then I think we are able to find the end here, just barely beating the respawn timers of the enemy. I have Cleanse and I have QSS, so we're able to get the end there. So again, we were able to get a Sovereign 66% win rate with mid lane, largely playing Syndra, so wanted to share that with you guys. Again, that's my 3rd Sovereign account. Probably going to be playing support next. This is the 99 mark game. Obviously, I had a game after this. The game after this, I played Jace mid lane. It's a little less representative of what I typically did. I locked in Jace because it was just a good Jace game, so I didn't want to show that one because I kind of wanted to show you guys, you know, again, what it was that really led. Like, these are more the types of games that were allowing me to climb overall. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.